Armor. It's the most important part of any tank. The two words have nearly become synonymous with one another. What is a tank if it has no armor? What's the point of all that metal if it offers no protection? The weight that heavy tanks carry, it should mean something. They have the ability to take no damage, but all the hurt. Heavy tanks carry an important role, to be unstoppable. The Pershing Jumbo has the best armor at 6.7. Yes, even better than the Tiger II. Some people assume that it's just a slightly more armored version of the regular M26, but this assumption is their downfall. The upper front plate of the Pershing Jumbo is 152.6 millimeters thick, and the lower front plate is 101.6 millimeters thick. Compared to the standard Pershing, the Pershing Jumbo has much more armor. The turret is also noticeably upgraded, with armor around 170 to 229 millimeters thick. The mantlet also provides another 177.5 millimeters of armor. The turret has been reshaped in a way that makes ammo racking much more difficult. The American Pershings and super heavy tanks have a weak spot on the left side of the mantlet that allows for an easy ammo rack. However, this feature has been removed on the Pershing Jumbo. As with most tanks, the side armor is very weak, clocking in at just 76.2 millimeters under the tracks and 160 to 110 millimeters on the turret. Another feature common to American heavy tanks is the upper front plate and G-port. This weak spot can be difficult to hit, but with enough explosive filler, any shot here will definitely do some damage. Angling is optional. The big tracks prevent tanks from overmatching the side armor, but the front armor is so good that tanks will either pen it or they won't. You can bounce rounds from a King Tiger at any angle, but against a Leopard, angling won't help. The Pershing Jumbo features the same gun as the standard Pershing, the M3 90mm cannon. This cannon utilizes the famous M82 APC-BC shot. The M82 has 173mm of pen with 140 grams of explosive mass. One M82 round to the mantlet is enough to disable all of the crew in a Panther, and it's very satisfying. The APCR shot has 287mm of pen, but like most other APCR rounds, only use it if you really have to get through some tough armor. The Pershing Jumbo also has access to smoke shells, which can be used for capturing objectives or making larger flanks. You can't make big flanks without a decent engine, and fortunately for the Pershing Jumbo, its mobility is acceptable for a heavy tank weighing over 46 tons. At only 500 horsepower, the T26E5 has a top speed of 40 km per hour, which you can usually get fairly close to in a game. The Pershing Jumbo has no neutral steering, so turning can be difficult at times. The reverse speed is 13 km per hour, which is helpful for backing up after rounding a corner into multiple enemies. But what's it like in a game? Any experienced War Thunder player will tell you there's a huge difference between what the stat card in the wiki says and what actually happens in a game of War Thunder. The T26E5 is another difficult American heavy tank to play. The armor is really good. Powerful tanks that were once a serious threat in other tanks are all but laughed off in the Pershing Jumbo. That's not to say it can't be killed, but sometimes it really does feel that way. With the Pershing Jumbo at 6.7, the cannon can be disappointing at times. There are so many tanks that can't be killed from the front, just as there are many tanks that can be obliterated just by barely hitting them. The US tech tree has other heavy tanks at 6.7 with better cannons, but their armor is just not as good, and that's the trade-off. The heavy armor on the Pershing Jumbo is supposed to justify its placement at 6.7, but the battle rating is too compressed. In my mind, it doesn't seem right that all of these tanks are at 6.7. And you know, I called it too. I knew the T26E5 would move up to 6.7 with the T34 and the Super Pershing and the silly heat slingers. But why would you play the Jumbo now when you have a perfectly good heavy tank with a better cannon that can bounce more shots and it has better armor? I knew it would happen and I didn't want to. But if I could go back to 6.3 where there were more down tiers and where nothing could stop the Pershing Jumbo. Back when I first unlocked this new tank and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Let's go back and see what it was like to play the Pershing Jumbo. Right. Yak Panther, yeah. Too much angling. Oh. Fire on the move. Storm Panther. Yeah, it was probably the right call to move it up. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If there's anything you would like me to cover in War Thunder, let me know in the comments, and as always, bye bye.